Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to today's session. In today's session, we are going to discuss the previous year questions of 2021 of Phase 2 for Economics for SEBI Grade A. Now, economics is a very important subject for SEBI Grade A, and to clear SEBI Grade A to become the SEBI officer, you need to have the concept clarity in economics. How right on track your preparation is going for economics for SEBI Grade A. To check that, to discuss that, we have brought for you this session where through PYQs you will see that how right on track your preparation is. Okay, and you will get the confidence and you will get the right track for your preparation for economics in SEBI Grade A. So before starting with this very important session, there is a big announcement from EduTap also that we have brought for you the comprehensive guide for the complete guide to become the SEBI assistant manager. Okay, so through a single guidebook you can get all your common queries answered, and through this single guidebook you can get to know about the examination, about the preparation, about the organization, about the sources and the strategy for the examination. Okay, and how to clear this examination, you will get the formula. So through this single guidebook you will get all your common queries definitely answered, and you can easily download this guidebook. This is absolutely free of cost for you, for your to save your time, to save your efforts, and you can easily download this guidebook. The link is provided in the description box below. So now let's start with the first question, but before that I would like to tell you that here in phase 2 in 2021 there were 11 questions from economics. So we are going to discuss all those questions and let's see that how many questions you are able to answer rightly. Okay, so starting with the first question, find the incorrect statement regarding the elasticity of commodity. So through the first statement only, the first statement is saying that salt has perfectly elastic demand. So this is incorrect because the salt has inelastic demand. Okay, why? Because when the price is increasing of salt, there is the decrease in demand of salt, but by very slightly. With the decrease in the price of salt, there is very slight increase in the demand of salt that happens. So that means the salt has inelastic demand. Okay, because inelastic demand means that demand is changing by very slightly, while elastic demand means that there is the much change in demand that is coming. So the demand is elastic when the luxury goods are present or when there are many substitutes for the commodity, but salt has no substitutes. So that's why the demand for salt is inelastic. Okay, so I hope you have understood the basic idea, as well as the life-saving drugs also has no substitutes, as well as you cannot even stop using having this life-saving drugs. So that's why they are perfectly inelastic. Okay, so I hope you have got the basic idea. All the other statements are correct because the luxury goods have elastic demand, the commodity that has many substitutes have elastic demand, life-saving drugs have perfectly inelastic demand, and the salt has inelastic demand. So all other statements are correct, but the A statement is actually the incorrect statement. It is wrong because the salt has inelastic demand and not perfectly elastic demand. Okay, so here you can read this, that the salt has no close substitutes. Due to this, a change in price of salt has little impact on its quantity demanded. That is, there is very little change that comes in the demand, and that's why there is the inelastic demand of salt. Okay, next question is, which of the following statement is correct for the demand function? Here, this is demand, this is price. So this is the intercept, or we can say this is the autonomous demand, and -3 is actually the slope as per the mathematical equation of demand. Okay, so here the correct statement is C, because the demand function is, first of all, this is a linear demand function. Because there is no powers to the variables, as well as the slope is -3, as well as maximum price is 6. Why? Because when the maximum price is given, then the demand is equal to 0. So here we can see that when the maximum price is 6, then the demand becomes 0. So with the maximum price, the demand becomes 0. So with 6, the demand is becoming 0. So that's why C is the correct statement. All the other statements does not make any sense. The quantity demanded is inversely or negatively related to price. There is no direct relation between demand and price. Why? Because when the price is increasing, demand is decreasing. When the price is decreasing, demand is increasing. That's why the negative sign, that's why the negative relation. There is no direct relation between price and demand. Okay, as well as the equation is a linear equation and not the curvilinear equation. The demand function shows relationship between the quantity demanded and the price. So all the statements, other statements are incorrect, only the C statement is correct. Okay, now coming to the third, here you can read the explanation. If you have any confusion, that should be clear. Okay, so here the third question is regarding the monopoly. Which is the incorrect statement? You have to tell that. So the first statement is talking about the bilateral monopoly. In bilateral monopoly, there is one supplier, there is one buyer. So this is correct statement, because in the bilateral monopoly, there is only one supplier and one buyer. Monopoly can lead to higher equilibrium price and lower equilibrium quantity. So in the monopoly, see, in perfect competition, there is perfectly elastic demand. So it is for the firms, the demand curve is horizontal. But for the monopolist, for the monopoly market, the demand curve is downward sloping. So there is usually the higher price that the monopolist will want to charge, higher price, and to sell at higher price, lower quantity will be sold, because the demand will be lower at higher prices, because at very high prices less people will be able to afford that. When the prices reduce, then more people will be able to afford that. But the monopolist will want to have the maximum welfare, the monopolist will want to have the maximum profit. For that, the monopolist will charge higher prices, and when the higher prices are being charged, so of course less demand will be there. Monopolies have a downward sloping demand curve. That is true. I have shown you. This is the demand curve of the monopolist. Okay. There is restriction on the entry of new firms. Yes, there are the barriers for entry of the new firms. That's why the monopolist is maintaining its position in the monopoly market. Monopoly promotes perfect knowledge. This is incorrect, because monopolist does not want to share the complete knowledge. Otherwise, the other firms in the other markets will come to know that, okay, this is how we can dominate that particular market, and we should take the monopolist position. So why I will harm myself? I am the monopolist. Why I will share my knowledge with the others? Because the others can take my position then. Okay. So that's why the monopolist will never want to share his or her knowledge, its knowledge. So that's why this is the incorrect statement, and that's why this becomes the correct answer. Okay. So here you can read the characteristics of monopolist here. Next is, which of the following statement is incorrect regarding the monopolistic competition? Now, monopolistic competition has many buyers and sellers. It has no barrier to entry and exit. There is the unique characteristic of monopolistic competition. It has product differentiation, and that's why it has the selling cost. The firms have to bear the selling cost, because there is the product differentiation. Different products are present that are close substitutes, so the firms have to bear the advertisements, they have to do the advertisements, they have to bear the selling cost. Now, monopolistic competition has less elastic demand than perfect competition. The perfect competition has perfectly elastic demand. So all the other demand will be of course less elastic, because the monopolistic competition has the firms have a downward sloping demand, so that is less elastic than the perfect competition. The perfect competition has the most elastic demand. We can say it has perfectly elastic demand. The monopolistic competition has less elastic demand than the perfect competition, and the least elastic demand is of the monopoly. Least elastic demand is of the monopoly. Okay. There is no excess capacity in the long run with normal profit. So this is incorrect. Okay, we have to find the incorrect statement. All the other statements are correct, and that's why this is incorrect. Why this is incorrect? Okay, so I will show you that. See, here the maximum capacity of the firm, of the monopolistic firm, is this. For the monopolistic firm, the maximum capacity is this, because here the average cost is minimum. So the firm can produce at the minimum average cost, but the firm is actually not producing here. The firm is producing at this point. So this is the excess capacity with the firm. Okay. So here this is wrong, because the monopolistic firms always have excess capacity in the long run with normal profits, because the monopolistic firms are never producing at the minimum of the average cost. They are always producing above the minimum of the average cost, and that's why they have the excess capacity. Okay. So how I came to know that here the minimum of the average cost is there, because when the marginal cost is equal to average cost, there is the minimum of the average cost, and you can see here the marginal cost, that is this, is equal to the average cost, that is this. So here is the point. So let me show you this. and through a different color. So here is the marginal cost and here is the average cost. So when the marginal cost is equal to average cost, there is the minimum of the average cost, that is at this point. So the firm is not producing at this point, and that's why there is excess capacity with the firm. Okay. Now calculate national income or NNP at FC. So NNP at FC is equal to, we have the GNP at MP. So from gross to net, what we have to do, you must know this, we have to deduct the depreciation. Okay. Then from marginal product to factor cost, from from market price to factor cost, from market price to factor cost, we have to deduct the indirect taxes and we have to add the subsidies, because we are going from the market to the factory. So when we are in the market, we have to pay the indirect tax. When we are in the factor cost, when we are in the factory, we do not have to pay the indirect tax, and that's why we are deducting the indirect tax and we are adding the subsidies. Okay. So GNP MP is 5069. The depreciation, that is the consumption of fixed capital, is 626. The indirect taxes is 495 and the subsidies is 69. So the calculation of this, the right answer is 4017. So here you can see that this is the right answer. Okay, I hope you understand the concepts. You know that how from the market price we can go to the factor cost, how from the gross we can go to net, and from national we can go to domestic, and all these concepts you must be very clear about. Okay. Next is, which of the following statement is incorrect regarding the Phillips curve? Now the Phillips curve states inflation and unemployment have inverse relationship. This is correct. Phillips curve, I hope you have the basic understanding that Phillips curve says that there is inverse relationship between inflation and unemployment. Downward sloping curve is the Phillips curve. Phillips curve is this kind of curve. The inflation and unemployment have an inverse relationship. When the inflation is decreasing, the unemployment is rising. Long run, the Phillips curve is the vertical curve at the natural rate of unemployment. Okay, and here is inflation. High inflation, high unemployment are because of recession. This is wrong. So this statement is actually the wrong statement, and that's why this is the correct answer, because in recession there is usually deflation, that is negative prices, negative rise in prices are happening, and there is high unemployment. So that's why the D is wrong statement, because there is deflation, not inflation. Okay, inflation means rise in prices and deflation means decrease in prices. So there is actually deflation that is happening with high unemployment. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Now coming to, which of the following is not the reason? And high inflation and high unemployment are because of the stagflation. This is the concept of stagflation, where the inflation is also high and the unemployment is also high. Okay, so which of the following is not the reason for demand pull inflation that you have to tell? So when the population is increasing, then the demand is increasing, and when the demand is increasing by very much and the supply is not able to increase, this is demand pull inflation. So due to increase in population, yes, demand pull inflation happens. Due to deficit financing, that is government is spending a lot, due to that demand is increasing, the supply is not increasing by much, again demand pull inflation is happening. Over expansion of money supply, people have too much money, demand is increasing very fast, supply is not happening that much, and that's why demand pull inflation is happening. Increase in administered price, that is government is increasing the price, so that is the cost push inflation we can say, or this is not the demand pull inflation. Okay, so increase in administered price means there is no effect of increasing in demand in this case. Okay, so here administered price is dictated by an entity that can supersede the effects of supply and demand. There is no demand pull that is happening, and that's why the increase in administered prices cannot lead to demand pull inflation, because the demand is not rising. That is not the cause of the inflation. Okay, that is not because the inflation is happening, and that's why C is the option, because we have to find that which of the following is not the reason of demand pull inflation. So increase in administered prices means directly the government is increasing the price, or directly some entity is increasing the price. So due to this, the demand pull inflation cannot happen. Okay. Next is, non-plan expenditure constitutes the biggest portion of the government's total expenditure. Which of the following is not a non-planned expenditure? So here we can see that the defense expenditure, this is considered as a wasteful expenditure in terms of the capital, like in terms of the development of the country, okay, because there is no infrastructure that is being developed. When you are servicing your debt, when you are paying back your debt, again no capital is being generated, no asset is being generated in the country. When you are paying your interest, when you are giving the subsidies, no infrastructure is being generated, no assets is being generated. But when the expenditure on electricity generation is happening, that means some infrastructure is being generated, some asset is being generated. So you can understand that this is the option that is different option, and this is actually the plan expenditure, because here the asset is being generated, something is being generated, okay. So that's why C is the correct option. You can understand interest payments, defense subsidies, the debt servicing, that is you are paying back your principal and the interest. So this is all the non-plan expenditure, okay. Next is economic theory and good practice suggests that a government should run deficit, that is the government should spend more, the government should do more expenditure when the recession is the situation in the country. So when the government is doing more expenditure, there is the boom, there is the boost that will come in the economy. So the theory which explains the process when the government try to align its expenditure and the revenue is termed as what? So all of this has no meaning in the examination. You are just wasting your time putting too much emphasis on these lines. You just have to see that what the question is asking, and the question is asking that you have to tell the theory in which it is explained that the government try to align its expenditure with revenue. So that is the theory of fiscal prudence, okay. So in fiscal prudence, prudence means what? Discipline is there, the ability of the government, the meaning, the ability to govern and discipline oneself, to look after oneself, and this is when the expenditure, the government is trying to do the expenditure that is equal to revenue. So the government is trying to discipline itself. So that's why the fiscal prudence is the correct theory which tells about the questions, or which tell about this statement, okay, that the government is trying to align its expenditure with the revenue, that the government is trying to be prudent, that the government is trying to discipline itself. The jurisprudence, again this is also a difficult thing, you might get confused between prudence and jurisprudence. Jurisprudence talks about the law, study, knowledge and everything. So here this is not what we are talking about, we are talking about the discipline, we are talking about the government's good judgment that is coming, that we want to see the expenditure equal to revenue, okay. So the right answer is the first option, okay. So here next is identify the incorrect statement regarding NBFC. In the previous session also, where we discussed about the phase 1 questions for the 2021 for economics, there were 2 questions from the NBFC background. So there we discussed about the NBFCs. So NBFC do not form the payment and settlement system part, that is true, because the NBFCs, they do not accept demand deposits, okay, and that's why they do not form the part of the payment and settlement. They cannot give the checks, they cannot issue the checks, and the deposits under the NBFCs are not insured by the DICGC. The DICGC only insures the deposits in the banks. NBFC is a company that is registered under the Companies Act 1956. This is correct. So NBFC do not accept the demand deposits, that they are only taking the time deposits, that is for the time period of 12 months to 60 months, okay. So the E statement is incorrect, and that's why E is the right answer. So you have to understand, and something might be hidden behind me. So you will get the PDF. Do download this PDF and you will get everything, okay. So the NBFCs are allowed to accept or renew public deposits for a minimum period of 12 months and a maximum period of 60 months. So they cannot accept the deposits repayable on demand, that is they cannot accept the demand deposits. That's why E statement was wrong. So this is the last question. Which of the following defines the monetary base? Monetary base now is the combination of currency in circulation plus bankers deposit with the RBI plus the other deposits, that forms a very small part, so that can be neglected. So here the first statement is correct, because here just the basic idea is needed, just the formula you should know, that the monetary base, that is the M naught, is the combination of the sum of currency in circulation that is going on in the economy, okay, as well as the bankers deposit or the bank's deposit with the RBI. So here you can see the formula, the currency in circulation, the monetary base is the combination of currency in circulation, that includes the notes in circulation, the rupee coins, small coins. The bankers deposit with the RBI, the banks, they are depositing something with the RBI, as well as the other deposits with the Reserve Bank. So the monetary base is also the reserve money or the high powered money, the base money. So I hope you have understood the basic idea. I hope that you already know, you already understand the formula of the M0, M1, M2, M3. If you do not remember, do remember these formulas very carefully. Okay, you can see that in the previous year only the question came from directly from the formula. Okay, so I hope you are very clear with this all, and I hope you have got 11 out of 11. So do tell me in the comment section below that how much marks you have got. If you have got 10 out of 11 or 9 out of 11, that is good. Below that, you need to have some clarity in the concepts, especially if your marks is below 11, below 5 out of 11. So you need to have more focus in economics, okay, because it is a very important subject to clear the RBI, the SEBI grade A. Okay, so if your marks is below 5 out of 11, do practice a lot and do clear your concepts. Okay, so thank you very much. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, join our Telegram channel. In this you will get the PDF of this session. Thank you very much everyone. Have a good day.